Hi guys, welcome back. Today we'll be talking about brain, parts and its function. The human brain is enclosed inside the skull. Approximately human brain weigh 1.3 to 1.4 kg. The brain divided into three major unit. First one is forebrain, then the midbrain and the hindbrain. The forebrain consists of cerebrum, hypothalamus and thalamus. The midbrain consists of midbrain, that is the top part of brainstem, and the hindbrain consists of brainstem, that is pons and medulla, and cerebellum. Now let's talk about the cerebral hemisphere. That is the largest part in the brain. We have two hemisphere, left and right, and these both are divided by a midline sagittal fissure that is called as longitudinal cerebral fissure. Corpus callosum connects two hemisphere in the human brain. The outermost layer of the cerebral hemisphere is named as cortex. So cortex has many folds that gives usually the wrinkled appearance for the cerebral cortex. The fold consists of grooves which is called as sulci and raised area that is called as gyri. There are many sulcus and gyres which will increase the surface area in the brain. It is reported that in conditions like Down syndrome, the folds in the brains are reduced, that is contributing for their poor IQ and other cognitive motor disability. Previously, we told that there are two hemispheres in the brain. So now let's talk about it. For an example, in a MCS stroke clinical scenario, sometimes some patients will present with a difficulty in talking. In another scenario, same MCS stroke may present with a hemi-neglect. That is nothing but patient is having difficulty to perceive their one side of the body part. So we have a dominant and non-dominant hemisphere. If you are a right-handed person, your dominant brain will be the left one. And if you are a left-handed person, then your dominant brain will be the right one. For most of us, the left hemisphere is the dominant brain. Now let's see what are the functions of this dominant and non-dominant brain. The dominant brain usually controls the speech, writing and language comprehension. That's why sometimes left hemisphere stroke produce aphasia, also called as speech difficulty. Other than language control, the left hemisphere also take parts in logical reasoning, mathematics and analytical thinking. Furthermore, the left hemisphere controls the right body part. It will help us to move the hand and leg. Also, all the sensory information from the right upper limb and lower limb will come to the left hemisphere for processing. Now, the right hemisphere, that is a non-dominant brain for most of us, that usually controls the rhythm and melody of language. So, if you are able to appreciate a song or music, that is actually happening from the right hemisphere. Similarly, creativity and imagination, holistic thinking, all those happens from the non-dominant brain. Now, from this, we can correlate how a dominant hemisphere stroke, like left hemisphere stroke, produces aphasia, and how a non-dominant hemisphere stroke or right side hemisphere stroke produces neglect. So till now we spoke about brain and its three major division, and then we spoke about cerebrum and the hemisphere functions. Now let's move on to the next major section, that is lobes of the brain. The cerebrum is divided into four major lobes: frontal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe, and temporal lobe. Each names come from the respective skull bone name. Other than these four lobes, some articles and textbook refer limbic area as fifth lobe. Now we'll move on to the each lobe and its functions. The frontal lobe. This is the most crucial area for any human being. Without this, our personality and our problem solving skill will be very poor. So this area help us to behave in the society, to solve problems and do planning, and even production of our all the voluntary movement happens from the frontal lobe. This is the area for our higher executive functions like planning, reasoning, or even problem solving. So any damage to this particular area or disease like dementia will change the entire personality. When we learn about brain function and traumatic brain injury, Phineas Gage case is the must known. He was a railroad worker and he met with an accident in 1848. A iron rod pierced in his left frontal lobe, after which The co-workers noticed a severe change in his behavior and personality. So the doctors understood the area where he got injured, that is the frontal lobe, is the major area for emotions, personality, and social activity. The frontal lobe also contains several key functional areas. They are primary motor area, premotor area, supplementary area, Broca's area, and frontal eye field. The primary motor area is the place where all the movements are produced to control opposite side of the body. The body parts are somatotopically organized in the primary motor area, that is called as motor homunculus. The next one is premotor area, helps for planning and preparing complex movement like postural stabilization and proximal joint control. Supplementary motor area is an interesting area where all the sequence of movements are stored, which also contribute for our bimanual activity, even for our mental rehearsal before any movement. This area is like a computer program where all the pattern of movement or sequence of movements are there, which will be utilized when it is required. The eye movements in human beings are controlled from the frontal eye field. This area helps us to fix the gaze. Another major area is paracentral lobule. This is the area help us to control the lower limb movement as well as bowel and bladder. We used to do bedwetting because paracentral lobules were not matured at that time. Guys, that's all for now. We'll see you in the next video with the remaining topic.